here. Good to see everybody, and things are going okay with us.
Nick, could you talk a little bit about your recruiting from the standpoint, have you changed your approach to recruiting since you've been in Alabama? Or is it all pretty much what you're doing now is what you were doing when you first went there?
Well, you know, I think that philosophically what we try to do in recruiting from a program standpoint hasn't really changed. You know, we're trying to do as much as we can from a program standpoint to create value for the players. Whether it's their personal development, making sure they understand the value of getting an education and doing all we can to have a good academic program for them so they have the best chance to succeed academically. Whether it's to develop them as football players, you know, career development, all those types of things, that really hasn't changed. I think what's changed in recruiting the most is, you know, the timetable that seems to always accelerate each year into earlier and earlier and earlier. I think that's changed quite a bit. And I also think that the whole sort of media attention that guys get in recruiting now has sort of changed the dynamics of recruiting a little bit as well. No, I'm not saying in a bad way, but I'm just saying that, you know, guys do get a lot of attention in recruiting, and I think that is a good thing for them. But I also think it creates a little bit of a dynamic of how we all have to try to manage, you know, the circumstances of recruiting.
Nick, last year here you were pretty the one adamant guy that the SEC needed to go to 9-game schedule. Now that they've settled on 8 for the time being, what's your reaction there?
I'm fine with that. You know, I'm always supportive of what we think is best for the league. I have my opinions about, you know, what we should do scheduling-wise for the future. I think you guys have heard them before, but I'll say it again that, you know, there's a lot of talk about having the 5 sort of conferences that are, well, I don't even know the right word for it.
Autonomous?
What are they?
Autonomous?
Well, but
Power 5?
yeah,
Power Big
well,
Five,
but
yeah.
the 5 conferences that are, you all know the 5 I'm talking about. I don't know what they're called. I don't even know if they have a name.
Oh.
That I'm really for playing all the games that we play in college football within those 5 conferences. I think it's better for the fans. It's better for the players. And I think that to play 9 or 10 conference games then would not be such a stretch for everyone. But I also think that the biggest hindrance of strength of schedule is that there's still a lot of teams that are concerned about being bowl eligible, so they want to win 6 games, and it's important to them in their programs, and I think that's, I would be the same way. I would have the same concern. I had that concern when I was a coach at Michigan State, you know, that, you know, are we going to go to a bowl game? Can we get bowl eligible? So let's make sure we try to schedule so that we can. But I think that there should be a different way that the committee that we have now that's going to pick the 6 bowl games that are in the championship series, whatever you want to call it, they're picking those 12 teams and who plays who. So they should pick all the bowl games just like they picked the basketball tournament. All right? And you don't have to win 6 games. You just have to be power ranking, whatever you want to call it, up there among the teams that get selected to go to a bowl game. I mean, if there's 60 teams that get selected to go to a bowl game, you got to be one of the top 60 teams. And if you went 5 and 7 and you played in a really hard conference and you had a really tough schedule and you had some quality wins, you qualify to go to a bowl game. So I don't think you can change one without the other, because, you know, that's the problem that everybody had with that in another conference game. 7 more losses for somebody. All right, and how do certain teams, or how can we tolerate the losses? All right, so there's a lot of changing going on in a lot of ways and a lot of things. So why not that be one that we consider in the future?
Will Muschamp just said that he wouldn't play FCS teams going forward. You just said you thought all 5 power conference teams should be playing against each other. Will Alabama now in the new format, the playoff, be playing FCS teams as well?
Well, I don't know that we have a choice sometimes, you know? I mean, we just can't call people up and say, we want to have a game. It's not like setting up a golf game. I call 3 of my buddies and say, you guys want to play? Can you play Sunday morning? Can you play, you know? And then everybody says, yeah, I can play. You ever try to schedule a game? Do you know what goes into that? And it's very difficult to do home event with quality teams. And there's only certain teams that, to be honest with you, you almost have to buy games to get people to play you. Outside of the neutral site game that we do in our conference games,